You know I'm easy going.
I either get feast or famine. I had 3 guys last week, none today.
From Erie Zone Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host,
And this is City Controller Kaz Kwiatkowski, and we're going to go right to the phones right away. Go ahead there.
Yeah, I have a dumb question for you.
Well, first, there's no dumb questions. Remember that.
There's a dumb person on the end of the line.
No. You're me, you or I. That's what.
Me.
No, you're okay.
No, what I want to know is the city of Erie owns different properties, like the golf courses and that.
Right.
Why?
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 Well, I think the theory was years ago, if you look at the reason, when Erie was I'll use the term the center of the universe for the county. It was the largest metropolitan area. It was organized. I think back then people donated property to the city for specific uses. If you remember Zuck Park, they used to be outside the city.
Right, Zoo Park, yeah.
Right, the airport was kind of like donated to the city. That's outside the city's domain. And at least, let's see, 2 of the golf courses are outside of the city.
Well, 3 were, but two now.
Well, 2 were, and J.C. Martin was Glenwood, what we call Glenwood, was in the city, but Erie and Downing.
That was zoo.
Pardon?
Up there where the golf course is by the zoo?
Yeah.
That was part of the zoo property.
Right, but I mean, that was the 3rd golf course. Because we had Erie, Downing, and Glenwood.
Yeah.
And we sold Erie, but yeah, they were, I think that's why they were donated, because they thought the city was in the best shape to, maintain them and to do what they wanted done with them, which was create an airport for the city, a couple parks, and some recreation.
Yeah.
That's my guess, okay? I don't know if anybody's around that.
The state is selling all the liquor stores.
I think that's their plan. They'd like to.
Well, the same as golf courses should be privately owned. I don't think the city should own them.
Actually, if they make money, and right now they are doing that for us and they're costing us, then there's no overall problem in keeping them. But I would agree with you, if they're losing money, by all means. What do you feel about the liquor?
Well, hey, every other state has private ownership. Why do we?
Well, I think, we're one of 2 states. I try and think of the other one. I thought it was Utah or something.
But what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
That's 2 states out of 50. That's 48 other states that don't.
Well, just remember, if they, there's a lot of questions on how they're going to do it. Whether they're going to let the distributors, for instance, are going to be asked to go head-to-head with large shopping chains like Walmart and who knows, Tops or any of those,
Yeah.
That's going to be a very
You had that big thing about selling beer, and, different ones have tried it.
Well, right now you can legally, if you go up to, who has it, Giant Eagle, you pay for it separately, but it's tied into the store. Have you ever been out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can buy beer there. Now, I know they're messing around with opening up the wine sales to grocery stores. It'll be interesting. I think if the state has done one thing right over the years, though, there was a time when the liquor stores were, I'll say this, they were very rude. They were very behind the times. And I think the last, 20, 25 years, if you go in there now, the clerks are very knowledgeable. If you ask them about a product, they can tell you about it. In fact, you can even use coupons, which at one time we couldn't use any of the rebates or coupons. So I think the liquor stores are run rather well, and I don't think we should sell them just for the sake of selling them. I mean, if, you gotta remember, you're gonna lose the possible revenue, and no one knows for sure what the deal's gonna be on, when you turn them over to private enterprise. How much will the state make? Will it increase underage drinking? That's another question.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a private business, you see it now when kids buy beer off of non-state-run places. It's much more prevalent than it is in the state store.
Well, when I was a kid, we used to drive to New York because we could buy it up there.
Oh, no doubt about it. I think, if it's done anything, all this debate, the state store has improved their, like I said, the employees are great right now. I mean, they got knowledge, the product distribution and variety has increased. Is it perfect? No, but, it's come a long ways.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna have to find a way to, if they do it, how to deal with the beer distributors and the uncompetitive advantage that large chains will have.
Yeah.
Like those large chains will probably come in and sell beer cheap for a while, but then after they have the market corralled,
Right.
it'll be back to normal. So I think there's some things the state can do to improve the system without entirely privatizing it. Remember, once you sell something, you don't have it no more. And, we were debating about selling
This way, Cass.
the turnpike they wanted to sell. They want to sell the liquor store.
Right now, Erie City has property in other counties that we ain't paying tax on.
What's that? Which one you mean?
Downing Golf Course.
In Harbor Creek.
That's Harbor Creek's property for income. And we're keeping them from getting income off of their property.
But think of it this way, as the county seat, we have many of the things which make the county great, which are all tax exempt in the city. So it kind of evens out. If you were driving along my street on East 38th Street,
Yeah.
think of all the property you could sell if Mercyhurst, the VA hospital, and not that I would be in favor of this, but take St. Luke's. You got 3 properties right in a row almost that are some of the most desirable property in the city.
Yeah.
And yet, that's all tax exempt. You go on the west side, you got Lecom, and, those are all things that make the county great. So, nobody's worried about the city losing revenue.
Oh, we have too much, non-tax-paying properties.
Now, you're going to have some, like,
Some is one thing, but what we have is too much.
well, it's because the laws are being changed and they're becoming very,
I remember we
Very,
have the
very
Housing Authority, which don't pay taxes.
who's that?
Erie Housing Authority.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, you're talking probably 3/4 of the city is tax exempt.
Now, the Housing Authority does send some money to the city. I don't have the figure right in front of me, but they have returned some money to the city. In lieu of,
But colleges, now they have rentals that they rent out
absolutely, and that's where
from.
the late Jimmy Thompson and I were, we were amazed when we found out that not only are the income-producing dorms tax exempt, but the income-producing parking lots are tax exempt, so are the sports facilities.
Yeah.
That's far beyond, I think, the scope of what they had in mind. You take like churches now, the church itself and the rectory and the school, they're tax exempt, but now they include the parking lots too.
But the whole thing is, now in the city of Erie, how many Catholic schools are open?
That I couldn't tell you offhand. I would say, would I be on safe ground saying less than 10 now?
Oh, I'd say a lot less. I'm on the lower east side. There's Mount Calvary.
Isn't Mount Calvary right now a Perseus House school?
Yep. non-taxable.
Oh, yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
But we also have St. Casimir's. The whole school's sitting empty. St. Anne's. You know, that's here on the Lower East Side.
Yeah, until they change the law, there's not much a city or any city can do, really. Or the county, for that aspect.
Well, the same thing goes. If you look at the attendance at, the churches and that, they have dropped almost ridiculously.
What, the attendance?
When I was a kid, everybody went to this one or that one or the other. I mean, we've got a lot of tax-exempt churches. I could open my own church tomorrow. I got, a thing for being a priest. I got that back in the 60s.
Uh-oh.
I'm a minister. What good does it do,
Well, yeah, I know. I share in your frustration, and let's hope that they, the legislators down in Harrisburg someday change the rule.
Going on. Same as if it ain't going to be, people are going to learn that everybody that homeschools are now at school.
I don't think they get tax exempt status, though.
Why? They're at school?
Well, I don't.
Well, you think about it.
Well, the problem you get with that is, it's like if you operate a office at home, the IRS has certain criteria, and you need to keep very detailed records about how much time is spent there. Otherwise, that thing would get out of hand. It's not as easy as you think to get that.
But what it is, it's getting stupider as we, think about it.
I do all the time. I'm gonna hope that, like I say, I hope that Harrisburg sees the light someday and changes things.
What's Cass going to do this fall?
Who?
You.
What do you mean?
When you retire.
I don't know if I'm going to retire. I'm still going to have to work. I'm too young yet.
You got too many millions.
No, believe me, I don't.
You took it all home with you.
No, you'll still see me at McDonald's. You won't see me over at. You won't see me at any of the big places.
Not like the mayor, huh?
I didn't say anything. Yeah, I'll still be around. I too young to retire, and I can't really afford it yet.
You're my age.
Well, yeah, but that
Huh?
Times aren't that good anymore.
Nothing is that good anymore.
No.
I mean, I learned a long time ago, they say one thing and do the opposite to what you have.
As Mario used to say, I might end up being a greeter at Walmart. Who knows,
No, they don't like us at Walmart. We tell them what we think.
Yeah, that's been my problem for years. Sometimes
Well, you have fun.
You too, and thanks for calling.
All right.
And I will pass your, your concerns over to some of the legislators when I see them.
All righty.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, he brings up the age-old problem, which we go over almost every other show, about tax exempts and the effect on the city. And it doesn't take much to, drive around and see that and know that all cities are in trouble. There's going to have to be a rude awakening in the Commonwealth to try to save the cities. There's not one you can think of that's really safe. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz.
Yeah.
Hey, the mayor now. I'm a big fan of the mayor, okay? But I seen where his assistant, Miss Schaaf, has stepped down.
Right.
And I was absolutely shocked to see the kind of money that she made. She made $70,000 a year. That is unreal. How many assistants does he have?
He has basically one assistant.
Well, I thought they said that he had that she was an assistant. Now someone else got that job. Someone else has been hired for that job, but I thought that he had some other assistant too.
Well, he has his, what you're probably thinking of, he has his personal secretary.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and then they have a woman, Meg, that handles the phone calls, and handles the general business, where the mayor's secretary handles the mayor's business. And he had Laura as his assistant. She did special programs.
Yeah, she took care of the thing downtown and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. She did some of that, and she did other projects like the the web page, and just any project the mayor wanted to sign her.
Yeah.
And then she represented the mayor at a lot of functions where he couldn't be there.
$70,000 a year, that's too much money for that position for a city of Erie. That's ridiculous. Really.
Well, there's a lot of people.
I was shocked to see how much money the assistant to the mayor made when we have people starving in this city, and we have all these assistants. We have a secretary who could be handling the phone calls and doing. One person should be able to handle all them things. That's what I mean. We have so many duplicate services. We have an Elm Street program, a Main Street program, which is pretty much the same thing. All it is grant money from the government, which is ripping us taxpayers off. People better grow up and do something about this. What we need to, everyone needs to just flip out and go off in this country. Because I'll tell you what, we are being taken advantage of big time. $70,000 for an assistant to the mayor of the city of Erie, Pennsylvania. And here, I was all for him getting his raise, but she makes damn near as much money as he does. And she's the assistant. That's crazy.
Do you remember, getting on with those government programs? I brought it up last week about how when I was, about the time I was in high school, they were tearing down half the city. Do you remember that?
No, I just moved up here a few years back.
Oh, really? Where'd you live?
I lived up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
You probably had the same thing. What they did, they had redevelopment, and there was a lot of government money during the Kennedy days. And prior to the war, they were the big thing was rebuilding the cities, the old cities. Like Pittsburgh was going through its renaissance, from a steel town into other things. And the bad thing was, and I hope it doesn't happen with these programs, that sometimes the money dries up and what you're left with is half a result. Like, for instance, we tore down a lot of buildings, but there was no money to put them back up again. And I agree with you on that. I think sometimes we're just in too many programs that we never finish them.
Yeah, there's too many grants given out, and people think, it's grant money. That's taxpayers' money.
Well, I remember the analogy where all the money comes from the same pair of pants.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. And you know what, Kaz, I want to talk about one other thing. Last week I called and was complaining about how people were setting out all this stuff, on the sidewalk.
Boy, was it bad when I saw it this week.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I was really happy because I seen where the city was putting orange tags out, where people were leaving stuff and they were saying that you are in violation of one large item pickup, and that to remove it, and that the city police and the code officer would be coming back to check and make sure it was moved. And I thought, you know what, that's a good idea. That's going to be good for the city. Next thing I know, here comes the street department down the street picking everything up. They had that machine that picks couches up and crushes it and stuff, so the workers ain't got to pick it up.
And there went the tags, right?
Yeah, they were picking everything up. They took everything. No matter, I seen them pick up 5 large items. But what I don't understand is they told everyone, you're in violation, which they were, but then the city went and picked it up. So if these people's not going to stop putting stuff out if the city's going to pick the crap up.
So they took the tags too then when they picked them up?
No, but what I'm trying to tell you is the people didn't even get a chance to see that this stuff was tagged.
Oh, that's what I meant. The tags went with the... Well, I got to talk to them about that one because, I agree with you. I rode by some places. They not only had building supplies, but it was obvious they had 2 to 5 large items.
Yeah, but the first time the city actually put tags, they took a large item, it seemed the night before.
Yeah.
And they tagged it that said you were in violation of the large item pickup, please remove it. And if you don't, the city police and the code officer will be following through to make sure you picked it up. And the next thing I know, the city's picking the crap up. So, I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't warn people that you're in violation and then pick it up. I understand why the city picked it up, because these people up here won't pick it up. And they don't give a shit about being fined because they don't own the house. It's a landlord rental property. So that's, I understand why the city did it, but I don't know, something has to be done. It's just outrageous.
Yeah, either the warning's got to be mailed to them or put somewhere else. And if you're going to pick up the pile anyway, then you better put the warning somewhere else.
Yeah, of course, I mean, them guys are swamped right now, the street department. And I give them bad mouth, of potholes and stuff like that sometimes, and the road's not being clear. But I'll tell you what, I got a heart for them right now.
I couldn't.
This is really bull BS what they have to go through right now.
I couldn't believe the amount of stuff some of those houses generated.
No, and they're putting out construction stuff. They're putting lumber out. They're putting paint out. I mean, anybody knows you can't put paint in the garbage. And just like the mayor said with the TVs, now he's going to have to. There's so many TVs sitting out in this city. He's going to have a program to where the city's going to take these televisions to get them picked up off the damn streets.
Yeah, people don't realize that, you just can't dump stuff like you used to anymore.
Yeah.
There's special
could you, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing anybody can do, but I would sure like to see some programs put together here. We surely don't need assistants and secretaries, and, we're not in that good a shape here in this city that money should be going out like that. That money, $70,000 feeds a lot of faces.
I would say right now with the news that we've had recently, all across government, and I mean all across government, state, federal, the whole deal, raises should be the last thing we worry about.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people right now in this community alone, if we face 900 to 1,000 job losses, don't kid yourself that that's not going to have a spin-off effect.
No, of course it is. But, people's going to have to, I don't know, people's going to have to quit thinking, hey, as long as it doesn't involve me, why complain about it? Because it involves all of us, and this crap's not going to stop. People don't stand up and give a little bit back, and resist a little bit.
Hey, when I was in the private sector, every time a factory closed, we would watch and we would see, like, people wouldn't maybe do a little upgrade to their house, and buy something, or you'd see, the attendance at the sporting events went down. You didn't see as many people at the restaurants. So, when you don't have money, that little extra, you cut back quite a bit. And
right.
that means...
I'm going to let you go, man. I'll let someone else call, but I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Yeah, and if nobody calls, call back.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
But that gentleman's absolutely right. The spin-off effect on things like the GE and stuff, and this is not the time for anybody in government to go nuts. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, the administrator to the mayor's resigned, and the administrator's assistant got her position at a totally 100% increase in salary. This is hardly the time for that. Do these assistants that the mayor has, do they live in the city of Erie?
No, they're subject to the same rules that all employees in the city. The only people that have to live in the city are the elected officials.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Everybody else is subject to the 15-mile rule.
I understand that the head of the redevelopment, Brenda Sandberg, this new person, that she lives in Washington Township. Kim Green lives out in Waterford. Brenda Sandberg lives out in Waterford. They're making their money here in the city, and they're not paying the city taxes. That is ridiculous. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard.
Well, under the present system, anybody that resides outside the city, the way the Commonwealth law is set up, we don't get any of the income tax, and the real estate tax goes where you live, and so does the income tax follow you.
Well, really bothers me is how can somebody say it's a wonderful place to live in the city of Erie, and they themselves do not live in the city of Erie and have to pay what the citizens of Erie have to pay. This is disheartening, it's ridiculous, and boy, I'll tell you what, we should have somebody running against the mayor.
When my dad was, when I was a young man, all the employees in the city had to live in the city.
That's true. That's, Tulio had everybody living in the city way back then, and they all enjoyed it. Of course, we had a big tax base.
What I'm going to do someday, when I got about an hour or two, I'm going to look up the per capita average of income in the city, let's say from the 1930s to now, and adjust it for inflation to see what the effect is. But I got a feeling that, we're not in the golden times anymore.
No, I think we should give the mayor the amount of money when Scott got when he was mayor of the city of Erie. He got $2,000 a year.
Well, John, that's kind of that's.
Well, he says he's doing this because he loves the city and he doesn't need the money. He made that statement on the radio. He's doing it because he loves the city. He does not need the money. If he did not need the money, then why is he going to accept this raise? He could say, gentlemen, I do not want it. I have another question.
Go ahead.
Just slipped my mind here real quick. But other than that, it'll come to me. I did see that the flag is up. I did see that...
that was our good friend over at the zoo again.
Yes. That was a good deal.
I'm going to have to go over and thank Scott. I don't think people realize that, flags aren't cheap, and this is like your second or third flag he's put up there.
That's true. I heard the gentleman from the Philharmonic where they're going to have their concert here coming up shortly, and I heard his salary is enormous, and they bring all these people in. Mm-hmm. Are they taxed with the EIT?
My guess would be, and I've tried to check up on this, I don't think I think the answer is probably...
Not.
No, I was told that they did pay. I could check in. I think the Philharmonic did pay. Now, I don't think the baseball players pay. That I'm not sure about.
I think everybody should.
Well, the bigger cities like Cleveland and Pittsburgh have instituted, now Major League Baseball and the NFL wasn't happy, and I don't know if they're still doing it, but for a while these cities were saying that if you come into our town and you make the kind of money you do, which ball players do, or the entertainers, like you're having a large concert, then you will pay income tax. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great idea.
Well, here's what I've always said, and I get an argument from a lot of people on this. Think about this. When kids go away to college, correct?
Yes.
And they're still citizens of the city of Erie.
Yes.
Okay, they take a job in different cities, working in McDonald's or working wherever they work.
Take their occupation tax, don't they?
Not only that, but when they come back to Erie, we take their 1%.
That's...
Well, actually, the 0.00118, okay?
Yes.
We do that. We consider them, we go after them. In some cases, we got kids working part-time here as, in fast food restaurants.
Temporary help, yes.
Yeah, working at the Waldemere, different places, we tax them, right?
Sure. What about the kids working for the city that are going to start working for the city?
Hey, they'll take it out of them too.
So why don't they take it out of everybody?
There you go. That's my one,
Fair.
I've argued that point that, when you got people that are residing here, such as ball players for 6 months, or people coming here in Philharmonic, they're playing here for, making a salary. Hey, my daughter's an entertainer in Minnesota. She has to pay, John.
Sure she does.
So why we feel like we can't do it or we shouldn't, I mean, if you're going to do that, then don't tax those young kids.
No, you should not.
You know, here's a good one. You go, if you're, now unless they changed it, if you're in reserves and you go off to summer camp, you got to pay on that too.
You do.
You know, so I mean, where is this feeling that, you know, we're doing something wrong by taxing people? You know, you're taxing the everyday citizen.
That's true.
But that's my feelings, and I've argued it out with the, you know, tax collect, you know, even the people that come here, take the people coming here, John, working on short-term projects, 4 or 5 months, right, building a building.
And they're gone. They don't pay any taxes.
They should, because how about our guys? Our guys in, you know, everybody gets on, you know, our union construction people, they pay taxes when they're working here, right?
They sure do. Hey, on this pickup,
Yeah.
white pickup, I understand that I heard from the rumorville that the mayor is talking about a one-day pickup for electronic items.
Well, he announced it on TV that, not on TV, in the newspaper, that he was, if I read it right,
Considering it.
he's got to get somebody that's willing to collect it, because the problem is that you just can't put them wherever you want.
Yeah, but there's outfits around here that are in other areas that are taking all the electronics.
Mm-hmm.
They grind them up.
I think that's what he was talking about. He wanted to hook up with an outfit.
They melt them and they separate the precious metals.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what he had in mind. Because people are ignoring the rule.
Well, you can see that all over.
If you heard that, if you heard that previous caller, he's right.
I mean, I've seen it myself. I see places where it's just loaded. Of course, I understand the trees that they've cut down and the bushes and all that. You have to call the Parks Department.
Yeah.
But you know what's irritating? When the Parks Department goes by some of this stuff, that's, you know, it's handleable for a man or two men, and their truck is empty, they won't stop and pick this stuff up unless they have a work order. This has to go to the mayor, to his assistants, his supervisors. They should say, hey, if you're coming in and you have nothing on your bed of your truck and you see this, why let it be an eyesore? Pick it up. Bring it in. You shouldn't have to tell anybody out there. But the gentleman, you were talking about states that have their own liquor?
Yeah.
Connecticut is one.
Who?
Connecticut.
There's only 2, I think, that have a state system, correct?
Yeah, you know, Ohio has their own, where they call them package stores up in Connecticut.
But everybody else is privatized, right?
Yes, I think New York has their own package stores also. But, you know, it's time we get into reality. There's too many people that are dipping in, getting pensions, good salaries, and John Q. Citizen has to pay for it all.
I guess you have a point, John, but I don't quite see the abuse in there as much as, you know.
Well, you know, there's not any abuse, but my God, if you retire from the liquor store or whatever, you've got a pension for life, you've got Cadillac hospitalization for life. And what? We let the private person, you know, you're going to see the increase in medical expenses go up like crazy here in another year or so. All these big entrepreneurs that have these businesses and whatever, they're going to say, the heck with you. We're going to pay the $2,000 fine, go out and get your Obamacare from him. And we're really going to get stuck.
Well, it's getting scary now, because you're hearing companies say they're dealing with the 30-hour rule. They're going to play games, you know.
Or you're not a permanent employee.
Yeah. Well, the problem is we have not yet. You know, John, I can't believe we can't solve this problem.
We can solve this.
I think the simplest solution would have been a national group plan.
That's true, but who's going to underwrite it? If you look at the stock market, all the people that are making drugs and the companies that are in healthcare, their stocks are going crazy.
Well, here's the thing, though. A lot of little businesses, and I worked for one for a while, and I talked to a few businessmen the last month or two. A lot of them would like to have a plan that was available either for them to buy partly or in whole, or that their employees could afford that's the biggest problem. I mean, you got people working and everybody likes to, downgrade waiters and waitresses, but
They have to pay through the nose.
I know, I mean, damn it. I mean, we go there and eat and we expect them to wait on us. And they got this archaic system where they pay them a minimum wage and we have to tip them.
But they're getting tips.
Yeah, and we have to do that. Otherwise, those people would live on nothing.
In New York, you have to bid on a waiter's job or waitress's job.
But you know what? They got to provide insurance for people. They got to make it so that the average man, I mean, a lot of places have group plans like Manufacturers Association or somebody. They got to have a plan that, the average person, the average little business, like if you only have a little pizza place, right, John?
Yeah.
Well, with 4 or 5 people, if you provide insurance and you take a couple bad hits, like my company did, they took 2 bad hits. 2 employees got, really sick bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that killed our insurance.
Sure will.
I mean, our premiums jumped out of the sky, and
then we got everybody else going down to the convention center, and all these high rates these executives are getting, and they're taking a free ride. Then we're losing industry left and right.
yeah, we better be careful, because I tell you, this thing with G should never be taken lightly.
They're going.
I mean, you look at, John, when you and I were young men, you could walk down 12th Street.
You can get 5 jobs before you win 3 blocks.
Yep, you go up Pittsburgh Avenue, Green Garden, different places. Shops are all over the place.
Now you're only getting people that want the government to pay for them to start businesses and everything else, just like that redevelopment authority going, and they have really cut it. That industry out of Pittsburgh, they were waiting for a townhouse to sell before they give a payment.
Hey, there's a lot. Here's an idea. There's a lot of people that are pushing them. I'm not mentioning any names, okay? But here's your chance.
Yeah, go down and buy one of those townhouses. Who's going to pay $200,000 to live in Dodge City? And that's what Erie is now. It's a Dodge City.
I wish if I really truly believe if they were down to Bayfront, they probably would have been sold by now.
For sure. Look at the Erie Reader and go to the back for upcoming events. Everything is downtown at a bar. Who wants to come downtown and live when that's all they're promoting is bars? Have a great day.
Yep. Well, I was asked by a good friend of mine to announce the number once in a while for our friends who are impaired a little bit in the vision. So the number on the screen is 870-1284. I'll double check that. Yes, that's 870-1284, and you can call in, and we welcome all phone calls. So if my friend is listening out there, there you have it, and feel free to call. And we still have about 15 minutes. Had a lot of conversation on a lot of different things. Go ahead, caller.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, one thing, I'm changing gears completely right here.
Oh, you're allowed to. It's open to anything.
Okay, so what about how everybody's driving in the city?
What do you mean?
I mean, where's the traffic cops? I mean, I sit at a light, the light turns green, and 4 cars go through the intersection on the red light. And I know that you had to have seen it too.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you one of the good ones. Do you live on the east side?
I don't see any traffic cops anywhere.
Do you live on the east side or the west side?
Well, I work on the east side, live on the west side, so I have to travel back and forth. But
38th and Pine, right?
Yeah. No, everywhere. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what part of the city that you're traveling in. People are just shooting 29th and Cherry, 26th and it doesn't matter. I'm driving home from work. It doesn't matter which way I go. There are people just shooting the freaking intersection,
Or they turn in front of you because they don't want to wait.
Oh yeah, I mean everybody just keeps going.
What is sad?
Traffic light changes and nobody has any kind of common respect anymore, or driving
I'll tell you, the sad reality is that today, what's going on in the city, and I'm not making excuses, this is fact. I mean, police got much more, I mean, you hate to say that traffic's getting second fiddle, but in a lot of cases it is because there's a lot of other stuff going on.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, and you know, the old days when we had guys that, we had a separate traffic department, that's gone, you know.
It's just sad. It's just sad to see that the people that are taking advantage of the fact that the police aren't going to be sitting there stopping them from doing what they're doing.
I see them every once in a while. Like today, I saw them staked out somewhere along one of Erie's big streets, and you see it once in a while near the schools. But the sad reality is we just don't have a lot of extra manpower, and they're out there dealing with, as John said, you know, the constant problems that, you know, are being created in our neighborhoods.
Oh yeah, with the shootings and all that stuff. But my thing is, the people of Erie that are, I mean, the good people of Erie should take the time when the light turns yellow, stop. You know, just make it safe for everybody. It's only going to take you a couple more seconds to get where you're going to go.
Well, I agree. I think a lot of it's distracted driving too. You got people.
You can get anywhere in the city of Erie. You can cross the county in 20 minutes. What's the big hurry?
You're right. You know, I watch them almost run over pedestrians. Some of them got the phone stuck up their ear, and others are just in a hurry. They got a bad attitude. You're right. You know, getting around Erie is not that. You know, you go to take Allentown, which is a little bigger than us now. It's a little different process. You know, it's a little more congested. Go to Cleveland and those places, but Erie, you're right. You can basically go from, I would say, from like Fairview to Harbor Creek in not that much time. Would you agree?
Oh, 20 minutes?
Yeah, half hour top maybe, unless you got in bad traffic, and that's very rare.
Oh, but the thing is, there's going to be accidents. There's going to start being accidents, and they're going to be bad, and people are going to start getting hurt because people are just the more and more that it's not being, people aren't getting reprimanded for running those red lights and running those stop signs, and the police aren't a presence on the street. It's gonna start getting nasty, and the people should just realize that, hey, just take your time, look out for one another, and let the cops go catch the bad guys in our community, and, you know, instead of having to come and worry about us running red lights.
Yeah, 10th and French is another bad one. You see them dodging there, you know, near the ballpark.
Oh.
But, you know, I think that every once in a while the chief tries to, you know, put a few men out there on that detail, but it's stretching them thin, you know.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and I know a lot of the Erie police officers, and they're busy all the time. So I'm just saying, I'm kind of like going with a bully pulpit to tell everybody, hey, quit doing it, quit running the red lights, stop at the yellow, you know, and let everybody be safe. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's amazing how you watch them speed. So they can catch a light, and if they don't, they're going through anyway.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, I taught my kids. I said, don't leave the intersection in a real hurry. Take a look first, you know.
Right.
But you're right, and it's a shame that we don't have more manpower. We can't come up with another system. You know, people don't want to hear it, but maybe those cameras aren't a bad idea.
Yeah, the cameras, I think, would be, there you go. I mean, put them up, even if you're not, I mean, maybe it might just be enough of a deterrent to make people be responsible like they're supposed to be anyway.
I think, you know, people are afraid of them, but, you know, if they're properly calibrated and you mind your own business and you do what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
You know, and if you're cutting it razor thin, then you know what? It's like the umpire. Maybe the call is going against you that day, you know?
You know what? Let's all just act like adults when we're out there. Let's act like responsible citizens, and let's just keep our communities safe.
But I think you're right. Maybe it's time the cameras come out, really, because we're not going to have enough police officers.
right, Kaz. I'll let you go.
Hey,
You're getting close to being done.
Thanks for calling.
Yep, bye.
I know a lot of people would be against it, but I think in these times when our police department is being strained with numerous other things to do, that maybe the cameras are a good idea. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, progress is nice, but it's also killing the city.
What's that?
Progress.
What's progress?
All the stuff that is going on, new computers and all this internet and stuff like that, they're real good, but it's also killing the city itself.
How so? How do you feel?
Well, I'd love to go back to the 70s and the 60s.
Yeah. I think we all would a little bit. It's nice to have technology, but man, I watch people now, it's like they spend more time on the phone. How much can you talk to anyone?
I don't know.
I mean, I relish, I was talking to my wife one day and I said, I don't think I could have, when we were going together, I couldn't possibly think of talking that long, just constantly.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to take a little walk and turn the phone off and, not play the games and everything and just kind of enjoy life.
I agree.
But I don't think that's coming back, do you?
No. It's going to get to the point where everybody's got a telephone in their hands and walking around and...
It gets annoying, though, is like when somebody's visiting you.
Right.
And they're not necessarily your friend, but it's a business. And then the phone rings, and it's a constant interruption. I've seen people basically, you say, well, maybe you ought to go outside and take the phone call, and while you're at it, keep moving.
Yeah.
Because we've lost all sorts of manners and everything. It just, you got phones going off in church, phones going off in the movie theater. Everybody's got to film everybody. Everybody's got to, it's just crazy.
I agree.
And you wonder why people in the world don't want to get involved in things where everybody's got a camera on their phone.
Yeah, majority of them do. I mean, there are still some of the cell phones that don't.
But yeah, it's a crazy world, and I'd like to go back. I think technology is nice. Don't get me wrong. The cell phones are great, but man, we're like prisoners now with our computers, our phones. You don't see a lot of interaction anymore.
Correct.
Everybody's texting, or they're 10 feet apart and they're texting each other.
I agree. Right across the room, they're sitting there chit-chatting. Instead of saying words, they're texting back and forth between one another.
I'm happy to say technology passed me by. I'm not real good at it. I do the basics, but I can count on less than 50 times I've texted.
I agree. I'm the same way. I hardly ever text, if at all.
But I think you're right, and there is a price to pay for technology sometimes.
Right.
Instead of making it useful, we've made it our master, and we're the prisoners.
Yeah, people don't know how to say thank you or open doors or nothing anymore. It's all forgotten. All the things that we were taught as kids, respect each other, respect your neighbor, it's all been thrown out the window.
That's why it's refreshing when it happens to you. You're almost like stunned because you don't know what to do.
I agree.
But yeah, the civility of, like people giving up their seat on a bus for an older person, and that stuff's all gone.
I agree.
Well, no, I shouldn't say it's all gone, but it's getting harder to find.
Yeah, it's very hard to find, and there's some of these buses, they'd be packed, and an old lady with a walker get on the bus, and they making her stand up and everything else. When I was a kid growing up, if you were sitting down and an old lady with a walker got on the bus, you'd better jump up or else somebody else would be slapping you.
Do you fly at all?
Do I fly? No, I used to.
Well, it's getting crazy. I have to fly because of my kids once in a while.
Right.
And, I mean, you sometimes you see things on there, you just can't believe it. I mean, people will bring half their wardrobe with them, take everybody's space on there, not think anything about it,
Yeah, as long as I get mine.
bump you, kick you out of the way, whatever it is. I got to be somewhere, and you're not important.
Right.
Well, I tell you, something's happened, and it's not good.
I agree.
I don't want to sound like a grumpy old guy, but, geez, there was a time when, people were a lot more civil.
The 60s and the 70s. You had all the factories, all the stores, all the restaurants, everything, and people treated you like they would want you to treat them.
Yeah, it's like when you're at a grocery store. If you're holding, you got a whole cart load of stuff, and some guy has one item, let him go ahead of you. It's not going to hurt you.
Right. What's a few extra minutes?
Yeah, but it's once in a while you see that, and it's kind of refreshing.
I agree. Oh, you have a good day and enjoy the rest of the day.
Well, it's getting sunny out, and nothing can be better.
I agree.
One thing about Erie, it can be the most miserable place in the winter, but it can be the nicest place in the summer.
It can be as nice in the summer or the winter time as it could in the summer. Erie weather changes so much. All you got to do is blink and it's changed.
But when it's nice and warm, it's some of the best in the country, though.
I agree.
I think it's going to be a good day today, and hopefully, things are turning.
Yeah.
You have a nice day.
You too.
We got probably about 4 minutes or so left. Once again, the number 870-1284. Go ahead, caller.
Kaz?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hey, I think there really shouldn't be a shock with that situation with GE, because when publicity went out on that, the GE was building a new plant in Texas. I think we all kind of figured that the whole plate was going to go out of Erie.
Well, I think so too. Well,
but I think the only thing that I think is wrong is our big shots in the city of Erie should have really approached them. But then what that could be involved. They'll tell you what they want to tell you. But there was no secret that eventually the whole GE was going to go out.
Well, you've been around. You remember when they used to build cars in Detroit specific?
Yes.
They never had another Detroit.
Right.
So, I mean, this thing about, well, this is a backup plan.
Right.
We all knew that was going to happen.
Right. But I still do believe that the whole outfit's going to go completely.
That's why I think it's...
Sorry for everybody and us people in the city of Erie. And you are right. I think personally myself, the mayor only decided to run again when he found out, what was he getting, a $30,000 raise a year? Or something like that?
Well, I hope you're wrong, but...
Well, I don't know. I mean, there was some kind of a scuttlebutt, unless I misunderstood it. But I thought that there was a raise, another raise, he was supposed to be done, and then another raise was kicked in. I don't know if it was voted on or what, but he was supposed to get an increase in,
The mayor was never committed to 3 terms. He was always thinking about it, but I think long before the raise...
Something must have changed it, because everybody I talked to thought that they heard that he was getting out with this, last term.
No, he never really told... I mean, I'm as close as a lot of people to him, and he never gave me an impression he was quitting.
Right.
He was, I think, seeing how he felt.
Right.
I'll tell you this, when you're working at any level, each year you take it, like I told people now, I said, I can't say how I'm going to feel in 4 years or 5 years.
Right. I agree.
And I think the mayor, he waited. I know the raise wasn't. He made up his mind long before that raise came across. I mean,
but doesn't it sound funny though that all of a sudden the raise comes in and he decides to go again?
Well, he was going to go before, because I tell you, there was a lot of people that
never knew that. I don't think anybody knew that myself till now.
A lot of people wanted his job, and there was.
Understand that.
And they were waiting for him to make up his mind, so they kind of knew themselves that he was running again.
Right.
But
okay, Kaz, I'll let you go.
It is a tough job, and I'll tell you, it's going to get a lot tougher because.
Oh yeah.
The cities are all under distress right now. I mean, we're doing well here, but long-term, when you look at, the tax exempt, the factories moving out, that's a tough barometer for any person.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Kaz, I'll let you go, and I just thought I'd give you some input.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I think, now's the time that we have to work with, even if we may think it's late, we have to start contacting everybody that's doing business here and see, are we doing something wrong or, because government cannot create jobs.
No, they can't.
They can create the atmosphere to help them.
Right. Okay, Kaz, I'll let you go and talk to you later.
You too, thank you.
Bye-bye.
And I just got the word, we're down to 1 minute, so I'd like to thank everybody. It was a full round of phone calls, and want to thank you once again for helping make this show good today, and we'll see you again next week, and thank you for tuning in. Remember the number, once again, 870-1284. We'll see you next Monday.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.
I hope you bring it in.
I got you. Yeah.